Hi, this is Doug Schneider. Welcome back to Real Hi-Fi. Today, I want to talk about something that I've been talking about privately for years, but has to come to the forefront. It's a problem among audiophile listeners, reviewers, and manufacturers, and that is thinking we hear differences without proving we hear differences. There's a problem with that. And why I think this is a real problem, and I'm bringing it up now, is because sometimes audiophiles and manufacturers do go down rabbit holes with products that people think make a difference, or maybe technologies that people think make a difference, but really it's never been proven that any difference was actually heard. And what do I mean by proven? Well, not measurements, believe it or not. That's what some people will think. Rather, proven through listening. And here's the thing. A single listening test, particularly if it's not blind, is not a fact. It's an opinion. Yet, many people mistake it as fact. In fact, manufacturers often come and use that as proof that their product does something because they say, so-and-so heard something. I just had a manufacturer say that to me last week. No, so-and-so thinks they heard something. But did they really hear something? Let's prove it. And why does it need to be proven? Because as humans, we can be fooled very easily. And I'm going to give you a little test right now that you can do at home with your friends to prove how easy it is to fool even the most experienced listener. Take the most inexperienced or experienced listener you want and place them in front of your system and tell them you want to do a little test. Play them a song. Then fiddle with something and tell them, I just made a change. I want to see if you can hear the difference. But don't change a thing. Play them exactly the same song. And I would wager that almost everyone, if not everyone, will say yes, they heard a difference. So what's happened to set up that situation of, let's call it a false positive in terms of listening tests? Two things. One is obvious, anticipation. By telling someone there's a change, even when there's no change, the anticipation that there's a change will lead them to believe they're going to hear something different and they'll likely come up with it. But even if you don't give the anticipation to somebody, familiarity, something that's not talked about in listening tests, and it's a problem when you go from one song to the next, particularly if it's a song someone's not familiar with or say they haven't heard it in a while. Simply by playing it once and then the second time, because they become more familiar with it the second time, it'll sound different to them. Now, anticipation and familiarity, those are two things that can affect listening tests, but there are many, many other things that can corrupt listening tests and give sometimes false positives. Yes, I heard a difference when there are no differences. And so the outcome of that should be pretty obvious in terms of what the problem is. And that is people going down rabbit holes thinking there's a difference when there might not be any difference, and manufacturers start making products on the assumption of a difference. Reviewers keep reviewing products, telling people there are differences when it's never been proven. And then, of course, people buying things that make no difference at all just because somebody told them they thought they heard a difference, or they themselves thought they heard a difference. And what's the fix to all this? Better listening tests, of course. Now, what a better listening test is beyond the scope of this video, and maybe I'll make a video about that in the future. But I was recently talking to Dr. Floyd Toole about this very topic, and in case you don't know, Dr. Toole is probably the world's most respected loudspeaker researcher ever. And he told me that the real hallmark of his research at Canada's National Research Council was not the measurements that they were really well known for, but the validity of the listening test that they created. Because, as he put it, they turned opinion into fact. And once they had fact, well, they really had something. And one more thing to add is that Toole's words weren't lost on me. Over the almost 30 years we've been in business, we've done blind listening tests. We've tried to make our listening tests really valid. We've also added measurements in whenever possible, and it's the majority of the time now. But we can do a better job of turning our listening tests, which can be labeled as opinions, into facts. And it's something I'm working on right now. So let me close this off by saying that just because someone thinks they heard a difference doesn't mean there was actually any difference. And that includes when I think I heard a difference too. I know I'm fallible. So what I've been saying to many designers and reviewers over the years privately that I'm now saying publicly is, before we decide the difference is there, let's actually prove the difference is there through better listening tests. Thank you for watching. I hope this helped.